tonight we are coming back to our little studio in the Wineland waterfront, and I have a very, very special guest with me. It's Joel Peterson from California, Mr. Zinfandel from the Ravenswood winery. Welcome, Joel.
Thank you, Mario. Delighted to be here.
I'm waiting for you so long time, because this wine is one of my absolutely favorites in from the Zinfandel grape, and he's really Mr. Zinfandel. So, but since tonight, since we tasted his first wine, I know much more about him. He's not only a great winemaker, he is also a great opera lover and lover of classical music.
It's true.
Yeah. So what is the secret behind Ravenswood? I didn't know this until this moment.
Well, the secret, if it's that, is that Ravenswood is actually named from a character from an opera, which is Lucia de Lammermoor, and Edgardo Ravenswood, who, as almost everybody else in the opera, meets a rather unfortunate fate.
And when he told me this story, that this wine is named after Edgar Ravenswood from Lucia di Lammermoor, my first reaction was, oh, Joan Sutherland and Luciano Pavarotti, and then we...
And that's where I first heard the opera, Joan Sutherland, Luciano Pavarotti, San Francisco.
When you ever have a chance to get a CD from this performance in San Francisco, that's so fabulous. It was never done better before and after this. Joan Sutherland, she sings Lucia better than Maria Callas, so my opinion, and she's unforgotten until now. She passed away a few weeks ago. Okay, and we have now first a toast with this wine to
Joan Sutherland.
To Joan Sutherland.
To Dame Joan. Yeah.
Our original idea was to talk about the Vintners selection from the Vintners blend from Ravenswood, because this wine is the most sold and drunken
most consumed Zinfandel in the world, I believe.
How many bottles did you produce? When you started?
500,000 cases now, but when I started, I produced 1,500 cases.
When you started?
When I started making Vintners Blend in 1983. Yeah, and I only started making Vintners Blend because I needed a wine that people would drink a lot of. Because I wanted to continue to make wines like the Tedeschi, which take much longer to make and are much more expensive to make, and are also more expensive to sell.
Yeah, but this regular, really successful, worldwide successful Zinfandel costs less than €10.
Yes.
It's a wine for every day.
Yes. And it tastes good. It's a wine that I personally can drink, and I have reasonably high standards.
I think what we tasted was a perfect quality. It was really the expression of the grape, of the grape variety. And I think it's not easy to find a wine in this category for this price so good as this wine is.
Well, that's what I hope for. That's what I'm really trying to achieve, is to give people something that's better than they expect. In fact, when I make the wine and I do the blends, I sit down with wines that are twice as expensive. I taste them blind with that blend in it. And if it doesn't come up in the top 10% of that category, then I think I failed, and I try to go back and reblend to get it there.
But now we drink another wine. It's the Tedeschi.
Yes.
That's the super premium wine from Ravenswood.
It's one of the 6 single vineyard desserts I do, which are wines that are very expressive of place. And the way I make them is to be sure that the fruit and the character of the particular location stand out, and the winemaking doesn't dominate that. The winemaking has to be like really good orchestration and a good musical opera. You want the singer to shine, but you also want the music underneath to be harmonious and contrasty when it needs to be, but it needs to be supportive as opposed to dominant.
So the Tedeschi, that means that it's a family vineyard owners who produce the grapes for you?
Yes, these people have owned the vineyard since 1910. And I learned that if I wanted to make the best Zinfandel in California, I had to go where the best Zinfandel was, and they weren't going to sell me the vineyard. But they would work with me and sell me the grapes. So I've been working with these people since 1982, and been making a single vineyard designate from this vineyard since 1997, because before that they were unsure that they wanted their name on a bottle. You know?
And so we talk about old wines. How old they are?
These vines were planted in 1900, so they're 110 years old. They're all dry farmed. They produce about 2.5 to 3.5 tons an acre, depending on the vintage. They are farmed just the way they were farmed in 1910. The vineyard is, for all intents and purposes, organic. They wouldn't call it organic. They're Italian farmers, but it's certainly sustainable. And year in and year out, I believe this is one of the best, if not the best, vineyard in Dry Creek Valley. And Dry Creek Valley is considered to be one of the best places for growing Zinfandel in California.
It's a very complex wine, great wine from old wines, very old wines, and it's limited in production. It's only, I think, 4,000 cases or so.
This vintage was 4,000 cases. It's typically actually a little less than that. Usually it's about 3,000 cases.
But we talk also about a wine with a reasonable price, because I heard it costs 25 to 30 euros.
That's about right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to find another wine in this quality. I gave him 95 points or 96 points. Because I can't imagine a better Zinfandel than this.
Yeah. Well, for a couple of years, this wine's been Decanter Magazine's North American Red Blend Trophy winner. So it's pretty darn good. And it's really emblematic of what the grape variety can do in California. And because it's Zinfandel and not Cabernet Sauvignon, even though I put the same elements and the same kind of work, and the vines are actually better, it actually sells for less than Cabernet Sauvignon.
In the United States, I would say this wine matched perfect to Thanksgiving, to the big...
to the turkey and the mashed potatoes and the Brussels sprouts and the sweet potatoes with marshmallows.
That's right, but we don't have this in Germany, unfortunately. So I would say this wine is perfect with the Christmas goose.
Oh, Christmas goose. Oh,
similar.
Yeah. You get the kind of the richness of the goose itself, a little bit of the fattiness associated with goose. Yeah, and maybe a little of that goose juice with Stetzel. Yeah.
Okay, this was the Christmas ghost.
The ghost of Christmas past or
yes,
future?
Maybe the future, I don't know. But okay, and don't forget, on the end of the meal, on the Christmas meal, the chocolate. Because this matches also perfect with chocolate.
It will go very well with chocolate, particularly if it's not too sweet. You want it to be, almost bittersweet chocolate and very dark. Really very
with some citrus zest.
Yes, absolutely.
And don't forget then, that was the ghost from the next Christmas.
That was going back to the past again.
Yeah. And if you want to make the Christmas evening perfect, then you should listen to Lucia di Lammermoor and remember our little tasting.
Absolutely. And if you want to lighten it up a little bit, just do a little Barbara Seville. It'll be just as good.
Okay. Thank you for coming to Germany and spend this wine with me, Peterson from Ravenswood.
I'm delighted, Mario. Thank you so much.